Daniel Clements of DC Integrated Health. I'd like to share with you today something I've learned from my experience as an integrated health consultant and as a student of health, and from what I've learned from my gurus like Paul Chek from the Chek Institute and other tutors on that course, and also from a book called The Fungus Link by Doug Kaufman. The issue that I'd like to talk to you about today is weight loss, because I see a lot of my clients with various problems, chronic fatigue, arthritis, other gut issues, chronic pain in their back, fibromyalgia, polymyalgia, MS, and nearly all of them, as well as getting rid of these primary problems, they all want to lose weight, and often that is the biggest goal for them. And what I've found, what I'd like to share with you today, is that Candida seems to be a common root cause, one of the causes of really the lack of ability to get rid of fat, despite of dieting, despite exercising. So what I'd like to share with you today is that link, okay, the link between what's going on in the gut and not be able to get rid of that excess weight that you really want to get rid of. Now, what is Candida? Candida is a fungal cell, not very readily recognized by medical tests, often goes undiagnosed, and for this reason it seems to be in nearly all of the clients that I see have a degree of Candida overgrowth. To explain that we all have Candida in our gut. It's part of the flora of our gut. We have good bacteria that you've probably heard of, and bad bacteria. It's part of the bad bacteria, and when that overgrows, then we start to get symptoms. Some of those symptoms are, and I'm reading from a list here, so just bear with me. This is a big list: athlete's foot, easily bruising, cheekbone or forehead tenderness or pain, cold hands or feet, low body temperature, cold-like symptoms, too much mucus in the morning, in your nose, in your throat, in your lungs, cravings for sugar, bread, alcohol, other crap food, digestive problems, bloating, pain, recurrent problems with salmonella, E. coli or H. pylori in the stomach, ringing in your ears, sounds in your ears, eye infections, ear infections. The list goes on and on and on. Okay, chronic fatigue is been linked with it, flu-like symptoms, loss of hair, itchy scalp, dryness, palpitations in the heart, headaches, brain fog, dizziness, hemorrhoids, low blood sugar, diabetes, problems with the thyroid, hypothyroid mainly, nervousness, panic attacks, anxiety, male problems, female problems, problems with endometriosis, and the list goes on and on and on. But what's not on this list is, not specifically, is weight gain, or the inability to lose weight once you have it. I mean, this is really a secondary thing, because all of these things are actually stressing your body. Okay, sorry, Candida is stressing your body. Any gut dysfunction, and your gut is defined as any spot between your mouth and your anus. And these Candida fungal cells, which are kind of like animals and kind of like vegetables, they can grow like vegetables would, but they can also move around like animals would, so they can move around different areas of your gut. And they can make pockets in the lining of your gut, kind of eat away and make a pocket in the lining of your gut. And once they're in there, they like to feed on sugar, and they like to feed on carbohydrates. Sugar from fruit, sugar from chocolate and sweets, from concentrated fruit juices, from soft drinks, also from yeast, things like marmite, mushrooms. They also like to feed on that as well. So what's the root cause of Candida? Well, in my practice, and the way I like to look at it, is that it could be from a physical source, it could be from an emotional source, a mental source, a spiritual source, it could be electromagnetic, it could be anything that stresses you. It could be too much sun, not enough sun, poor breathing. It's anything. It's complex, but to give you an example of a physical cause, in the gut's warm and damp, and as I said before, in a warm, damp environment, and adding lots of carbohydrate in your diet, from grains and from sugars and yeast, that's a really nice environment for a Candida fungus to grow. So that could be a cause. What I see a lot of is an emotional cause, and this can be almost a kind of smokescreen to trying to avoid things that are painful in the past, in the present, or you're worried about in the future. May seem a little strange to you, but I do see this as often a block to getting rid of something like Candida. But unless we get over this roadblock, this emotional roadblock, it's very difficult to get rid of these physical symptoms. And I've said often it's chronic fatigue, arthritis. Sometimes we need to deal with that, not always. Another mental cause might be just having a negative outlook. So just waking up, looking outside, looking at the sky, and seeing all the clouds, and not the sun floating outside the clouds. Yeah, so everything gets a negative spin. So you actually, if you look at that internally, you're feeding the bad. What's the bad? The bad is the Candida. So the Candida grows out because you're telling it to. Yeah. That mental connection, your nervous system connects to your brain, sends the messages to your gut. The message to your gut is negative. There's a scientist called Yamamoto who's done lots of studies on water, and also I think on food, and studied the cellular structure of the food or the water. I think it's water. And what he found is just thinking negatively changes the structure. It's an ugly structure of water. It's incredible. But thinking positively, having positive outlook, actually changes these beautiful structures. Yamamoto, I don't remember his first name. And finally, a spiritual issue. If we look at the position of the gut, okay, it's kind of in the middle around the navel, generally where the problems are. This, if you look at the chakra system, is your second chakra, and this has to do with who you are, your self-worth, what's important to you, what your core values are. And often if you don't have a good idea of what is important to you, you tend to be pulled by anyone else's values. So you feed your worth by pleasing someone else, and that gives you value. But what you don't do is actually deal with what you really need, what's really important to you. This actually stresses you. And these are the kind of people who need a crisis in order to feel alive. But a crisis is stressful. And basically the body doesn't differentiate between these physical and mental, emotional or spiritual stresses. It has the same effect on your nervous system, on your hormonal system, and for example, if we look at the nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, there's two sides of it. There's sympathetic and the parasympathetic. Now, with chronic stress from whatever source, and Candida is a huge stress, this can switch off the parasympathetic side, which is to do with digestion and repair.